Okay, well, so when you start, yeah, I'm good. I've had
And
a
there
good
you
day.
go. Yep. So anyhow, yep, I'm sitting here with the global man from the MGTOW community. You probably know him as the global man. Better known to me as Peter. So how you doing, Peter?
I'm doing fine, thanks, Bill. I mean, we've known each other for a long, long time long before was using the MIGTO label.
Yes, yes, that's correct. Matter of fact, Peter was back in the day. I want him with me on a radio show on Blog Talk Radio. So people from back then might remember him from there.
Yeah, I mean, that was like 2012. We did a radio series, but one of the things about radio series is after a while you get a bit repetitive. You know, you say the same things over and over again.
That's it. That's it. That's one of the reasons I backed off the dating scene topics for so long because I was just repeating myself. So, and I get into the political end and I fight the political corruption because that's where the biggest divide came from. Fabians, the families at the top, the people that are our owners, as George Carlin would say, our owners.
Yeah,
Yes, they're the ones that give us all of our problems we have in society. But the biggest divide of all the divides is men and women, the dating scene, the division of the genders. That was your biggest divide, your biggest psyops, the biggest mind control tool that's been used on the public is religion.
yeah. Religion's like the biggest mind control tool, and the incenting the women, giving the women their 30 pieces of silver to attack their husbands. That's been going on for a long time now.
Oh, it sure has, and I'm going to be sarcastic. I'm going to say this. The woman hater, I'm sitting here with the woman hater, Peter. Even though Peter don't hate women and I don't hate women.
We're obviously women haters because we think women should get the same sentence for the same crime. That's absolute hatred according to the women.
Accountability, this is just
Yeah,
it. We have this double standard thing going on. It's been going on forever when it comes to double standards. And the men, you point your finger at the men all the time and tell them they're accountable for their behavior, their actions, the whole 9 yards. But when women go corrupt and do corrupt things, you turn your back and you look the other way. And if somebody like Peter or me calls them out on their behavior and that they should be accountable, well, by God, we're misogynists, we're women hater, we're this, we're that.
yeah. We obviously hate all women if we point out any woman, you know, making false allegations, committing perjury, molesting children, all that sort of stuff. You obviously hate all women.
Oh, yeah, they would tell you that women don't molest children. See, there is no women pedophiles, they'll tell you, because that's only a gender issue. That's a man issue. And this is a gender issue. No, this is not a gender issue at all. That's what people don't understand. The corruption that was brought down to all of us to divide the genders, and then you focus on it's a gender issue. Well, it was never a gender issue to begin with. If I say I want accountability needs to be applied to all, that means when I say all, that means men and women. But the minute I say accountability should be applied to all, you want to call me a misogynist and a woman hater.
Yeah, and you want to get me fired and ruin my job and all the rest of it. That's what
Yes.
they do. I mean, we all know the women have been demanding to be treated like equals for 150 years, and but they don't want to be equal anywhere where it's not nice, where it's no fun. They don't want to be equal. They don't want to be the equal number of war dead. They don't want to be the equal number of workplace dead. They don't want to be the equal number of incarcerated. They don't want to be the equal number of alimony payers. They don't want to be the equal number of child support payers. They certainly don't want to be the equal number of the homeless. So those areas, they're not very interested at all in being equal.
No, they're actually very interested in keeping that away from themselves and pushing that back onto the man.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
court system, through no fault divorce, has done a great job of making sure it goes just that way.
Yeah, it's all one way. It's all one way traffic. I mean, one of the interesting things now. I mean, we were talking back when, in my opinion, there was a chance that we could stop the plans of the global genocide and the depopulation program, etc. You know, guys like you and me, we stood up and we put a bloody great big target on our chest and said, you know, I'm going to stand up to you guys and screw you if you fight back. You know. And you and I both were on the receiving end of some pretty nasty stuff.
Oh yeah, it's been, I know Peter for a long time, and I'll tell you what, Peter's been considered very an angry man, very
Oh yeah.
angry and bitter. But then,
Yeah.
if Peter's story is simple. The man was married to a woman for a lot of years. He worked and provided the money that come into the home to take care of his family, had children with her, and she took him to the cleaner. He used the court system to rape him of his children, of his belongings, turned his children against him, took everything he worked so hard to get from him because she had that gender favoritism of the court system going on. And like Jerry, who went into a courtroom and got a transcript and spoke up to the judge, Peter, like Jerry, went into the courtroom but was one step up and took a camera in that courtroom. And he
Yep.
proceeded to question the judge and call the judge out like Jerry did. Jerry managed to come up with a judge who actually admitted that he understands that some of these false flags are just that fraudulent, blah, 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 which was great. Jerry got that out of a judge, admitting the corruption, okay? Which is awesome. He's got it on transcript. Well, Peter's, in a lot of ways, got the same thing going for him, and he's got it on video. Because he's the only one, the man I know that walked into a courtroom and stood up to himself in the corruption. And it was more in the dating scene topic, but I'd like to Peter tell you a story because I think it's valuable for people to hear.
Yeah, I mean, going back, that's even before we met, going back a long time ago, I decided, it's obvious that the courts, the divorce courts, are criminal in nature. That took me about 2 weeks to figure that out. And I was surprised, that nobody had said this. I'd never heard anybody say that divorce courts are criminal in nature. And it took just the first couple of notices to figure out that's going on. So I spent nearly 2 years figuring out how did these courts work, such that by the time I got to my court case, I'd know how to handle it. So we decided to build a remedy, and this was some colleagues and I. And over time, we did our research, and over time, we figured out how the courts worked. And of course, they weren't very forthcoming with telling us what a bunch of scumbag criminals they are, and they weren't forthcoming about telling us how they work. So we had guys literally, we were trying to figure it out. We had guys literally walk into courtrooms and test stuff that we were trying to figure out. And a lot of those guys wound up in jail, right? Usually just for a few days. And but a lot of those guys suffered because they went, okay, I've got a case. Somebody's got to go and try this. And they went in, and a lot of those guys carried little hidden audio recorders. And so over the 18 months that we were doing this, we figured out how it worked, and we figured out a remedy. And then it was my turn. My case came around. My case came due. And I thought I'd go one better than carrying a hidden audio in with me. I openly carried a video camera with me. And I'm thinking, when I pulled the video camera out and started videoing, had it in my hand, little flip camera, about the size of this thing. It's not this thing, but it was about the size of this thing. Pulled a little flip video camera out and started recording. And there was 2 federal police officers in the court. I thought, well, either these guys are going to jump me and drag me out, or they're going to let me go, right? So, yeah, I video recorded the entire 40-minute proceeding. It was 2 20-minute halves, and put it on YouTube. And that was way back. I did that in November 2009. And here we are. We're coming up. We're coming up November 2018. We're 9 years down the track, and the next guy hasn't done this yet. The next guy hasn't walked into a court, a divorce court, and video recorded it. And that video recording, for the people who know what is going on in the courtrooms, the people who watch that video recording just go, "That's just amazing." One, that you were able to do it and didn't get thrown in jail, and 2, that you're able to point out exactly what crimes were being committed along the way.
Yep.
But here we are.
Yep.
Here we are, 8 years later, 9 years later, and people are not listening to it. People are not learning from it.
I was just curious, Peter, when you walked into that courtroom, did you have to first climb aboard the ship? And was that courtroom inside a ship on water?
No, the naming is the little balustrade in the courtroom represents stepping onto the ship. So I didn't step across the balustrade, so I didn't step onto the ship. And in the video, for anybody who wants to go watch it, you can see me ask the magistrate, he says, take a seat. And I say, I'd be happy to take a seat as long as you agree that I retain all my inalienable rights and I don't waive any of my inalienable rights by taking the seat. Do you agree to this? And he wouldn't say yes, because that was the stepping across the threshold is what they say waives all your rights. It's a voluntary act. And they say you take this voluntary act, we interpret that as you waiving all your rights. So when you say, do you agree that I can step forward and that doesn't waive my inalienable rights, all my rights to my property, for example? And he wouldn't say yes. And then he says, well, you didn't want to present any of your information. And all my documents have been presented to him 2 days earlier. And so, he had my documents. They were sitting on the desk. I could see he had them on the desk. And I was happy to give him another copy and discuss it. But he wasn't happy to say, yes, take a seat, and I don't interpret that to mean that you've handed me all your property so that I can dispense with it. And that's what happens with the divorce courts. The divorce courts are voluntary in nature. And so when the man goes, he's agreeing that the government owns all his property, and the government therefore has the right to dispense his property or their property as they see fit.
Yes, and as people don't understand it, the marriage license itself is a three-party contract. Whether people recognize it as what it really is a three-party contract, and the reason the court can take his stuff is because when you're married, you have a three-party contract with your wife, you, and the state, the government. That's who the pastor or the judge, the person who married you, they represent the state. They represent the corruption. They represent the justice system. Doesn't matter what part of the world you live in. The only difference is we're under maritime law. I guess we should be on a ship out to sea, so it could be maritime law, but they skewed that too, and Peter just explained that to you. The minute you step into a certain point of the courtroom, you have now entered the ship.
You stepped onto the ship. So what you see it in like the movies and that. There's a public gallery, and then there's a little wooden fence, a balustrade or something else like that. Usually very small wooden fence, something just representative. And then you go past that, and that's where the accused and the accuser and the accuser and their lawyers sit down, right? Yes. And if it's a criminal case like a mugging or a murder or something, they put the accused person in a dock, because that's where you put a ship, is in a dock. And so the language of it is all maritime language. But it's a little balustrade. You step across the little balustrade, you are stepping onto the ship. So, basically when you get married, you sign a marriage license to say that you're begging the government to get married, and all the property of all the proceeds of the marriage belong to the government. And then when you have a divorce court and you turn up, you're agreeing and admitting again that all the property belongs to the government, even your kids. And that's why the magistrate or judge can dispense with your property as he or she sees fit.
Exactly. And so I thought that was a valuable thing to repeat, because YouTube has a history of pulling our stuff down, and we do all this fabulous work that fabulously is gone.
Yeah, I'm up to 5 channels now. 5 channels have gone down.
There you go. Okay, so like Peter, like myself, we've both lost numerous channels and lots of work to YouTube, saying we have broke one of the rules that they pulled out their anal, because YouTube, they say, well, if you follow the guidelines, but you can't follow the guidelines on corruption, because they make it up as they go. So there is no such thing as following the guidelines. It'd be like on my TFL at War channel. They literally went to, when I was over there on the PSYOP channel of 153, they literally, because I was very selective on what I made sure would be on my channel, so that they could not have anything that would be a strike, they would have to pull a strike out there, that the only way they could get one was to actually make up something corrupt. Well, they did. They went over to 153, downloaded a video of mine that definitely was never uploaded onto YouTube, uploaded it onto my channel, and then struck me for having it on my channel.
Yeah, yeah. That's YouTube. YouTube under Caesar, which I call her Caesar what alphabet Jew. I can't pronounce the last name, but under Susan, YouTube has gone to the dogs. It's just a disaster. And you notice she made a couple of videos, and the thumbs down were like 3 times the thumbs up.
Well,
So
yeah, you could, this I observed a long time ago, and I was like, how's that possible? And I looked into it. But the thing is you put a video up, it's been up 15 minutes, it's a 20-minute long video. Just an example, okay? It has 10 thumbs downs, but it only has 3 views. And it's like, how do you got 10 thumbs downs for 3 views? Not possible, okay? But at the same token, when you understand it, you can go on the internet and buy thumbs down and thumbs up. You can buy them. The corrupt system called YouTube sells thumbs up and thumbs downs for the suckers who want to give up their money, and then you're allowed to use so many of them per video you go on to. So you go on a video that was just uploaded, it's got 3 views, only been up 10 minutes or whatever, 15 minutes. You use 10 thumbs downs, wham, because you bought them. Now it's got 10 thumbs down. But then the view count don't match the thumbs down, so you see clear blatantly. So what I had done on my main channel before it was gone, which is gone now, of course, because it was one of them channels that had to go again because I spoke some truth, and that's not allowed in today's society. So one thing people fear the most, and that's probably why I'm a woman hater. Peter's a woman hater, okay? Because me and Peter, we don't hate women. We love women. What we hate is corruption. And what we want is basically what's fair to everybody, and that is women to be held accountable just like a man's held accountable. For other women to point their finger at the woman who is raping that guy in court or committing perjury on the stand in line or shitting all over him in society in front of everybody, for other women to recognize the behavior, point their finger at them and shame them so that they change their behavior. But you can't get women on board with this for nothing because they're enjoying their pedestal.
Yep, they're enjoying their day in the sun, right? Basically, exactly. They're enjoying their day in the sun.
And then you got the vaginas out there, the simps, whatever you want to call them. The so-called, I want to be a man, I wish I was a man, because in my eyes, for all of you men who call Peter a woman hater or me a woman hater, it's because you're clearly not a man, and you probably should consider becoming a transvestite and getting a sex change just because you hate your own gender so bad.
Yeah, get it snipped off. Get your balls snipped off because you're obviously not using them, right?
Exactly.
It's a bit like that. They need to be gelded. Those guys need to be gelded because they're obviously not using their testicles.
And that was another thing I think Peter will agree with. If you're fighting against the corruption and you're calling names of families, which should be done, the root cause, so that you can understand 9/11, Sandy Hooks, and all the corruption that's going on, and you're going and looking for the root cause, the people behind all this, our owners, and you're fighting against that, how can you honestly say you're fighting to stop the corruption if you're going to sit there and call me or Peter a woman hater, okay? And you're going to play into the programming that was brought down by these people. So if you're going to, I'm going to leave this corruption they gave me in place because I'm okay with that, then as far as I'm concerned, you can shut your mouth about everything else you're saying too. Because why do I care about you fighting this if you're willing to leave this corruption in place? You either going to overturn it all and straighten it out for everybody, or you can just see this.
Yeah, well, for the last 8 years, it's been guys have known clearly since I walked into a divorce court and video recorded the crimes in progress therein, right? There's no doubt that the video that I made captures crimes in action. There's some guys have even gone to the extent of, oh, well, that must have been a fake. You must have somehow, set that up. These are actors. This is not a real,
right. That was
a
a mock courtroom, right? That was one of the mock courtrooms, and Peter's a shill. He's a government agent, and so am I, and so is Jerry, And so is on and on and on, right?
Yeah,
Nah.
somehow I managed to get a really nice courtroom with a couple of cops and some members of staff and a whole across to the right there's a small classroom of school children come in to watch it for the day. Somehow I managed to orchestrate all that and get all that done. Yeah, with my ex-wife cooperating. Yeah, like my ex-wife cooperated about anything, right?
Oh, she did. She
So
cooperated on her own want.
so so some guys have even said, "Oh well, this must be fake. This must be organized or shot or something," and which is completely ridiculous. And the other guys is going, "Oh well, I think he should have just obeyed the judge." And it's like that's the whole point, that you don't want to obey the judge. That is indeed the whole point of going and making this video. But here we are. My point is, here we are 9 years later. That video's been out for 9 years, and guys are like, huh, okay, well, hopefully it won't happen to me. And you know, all the other guys in the last 9 years, how many guys have committed suicide from the criminal abuse of the divorce courts,
That's it.
or even just the threat of divorce courts? Nowadays, it's not even a story. When nowadays in the US, when a man kills his wife and children because of this whole divorce court thing, that doesn't even make the papers anymore. It doesn't even make the websites anymore.
We don't care because, you know, Peter, you're just a guy.
Yeah.
You're not a human. You don't have emotions and feelings like women. You're only just a guy. I mean, you're an alien, you're a monster, you're a rapist, you're a predator, you're everything vile, okay, in society's eyes, because this is the programming that, and people don't think so, but if you pay attention to the feminist movement, and you pay attention to the news feminist movement, the neo-feminists, as Mark Passio talked about, it is correct. I've heard this. I've had it used on me by females. I've been in situations in my life and seen and witnessed it with my own eyes. And you know, and it gets pretty vile when you walk. It's like one time when I'm leaving the beach. And I'm leaving the beach up in Florida. And I walk by this gal and guy coming at me. And we walk past each other like this. And as I'm going past them, she goes, "Ew, Ronnie, protect me." She looked me square in the face as she was trying to get a confrontation between me and him so she could get her rocks off on her fucking sick behavior.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, women are constantly telling lies about other men to try and incite men into violence between themselves, or incite men to attack each other and derail each other, destroy each other's careers, etc. And you know, there's plenty of manginas out there who are quite willing to attack another man in in furtherance of his own ambitions. Michael Avenatti being one of the top profile ones just at the moment, but there's plenty of them out there, right?
Yes.
So this Kavanaugh thing has, just transitioning off to the Kavanaugh thing. This Kavanaugh thing has actually raised this false allegation thing, raised the profile very high, because this Blasey Ford woman was nowhere even near credible, and you know, the guy is supposed to defend himself from a 36-year-old accusation from some time when he was a teenager, which is, you know, the whole thing was totally ridiculous. And there's so many men looking at that going, hang on a minute, this is just outrageous that somebody can make this sort of accusation, and for it to be taken seriously is just completely outrageous.
It is. It's sort of similar to Bill Cosby's case, because you're talking about women who claim they were sexually assaulted by this guy, whether you're raped or whatever. I'm sorry, but when a whole bunch of years like this goes by, and then you're going to come up and say you're the victim, no. A real rape victim or a real victim of sexual assault or a sexual crime isn't going to wait 20 years before they come forward, or even a year.
Yeah, they're going to come forward straight away.
Exactly.
And all these women who say, oh, well, when women make accusations, nobody takes them seriously. That's complete BS. I'm 54 years old. You're a few years older. I have never seen a man in my lifetime, never seen it, where when a woman makes an accusation, where a man doesn't actually take it seriously and listen to the story and see whether the story sounds real. I've
Well,
never seen it in my lifetime.
no, that's because it don't exist. That's fabricated. It's just
Doesn't happen.
fabricated as a rape culture. There
Yeah.
is no such thing as a rape culture. Okay, that's completely fabricated. And Peter's right. You know, women actually, this is what's even more ironic about this. The most protected gender by law's eyes and by men themselves, the most protected gender in the Western countries, anyhow. I can't say about all countries, but I can say in your Western countries, and from even Peter's experiences in his life, from where he's at, he'll tell you the same thing. The most protected gender is the female.
Yeah.
And when
Well,
a woman speaks up, men listen. Society listens to what they say. Now, if you're saying, well, they don't listen in the justice system or in the blah, 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 maybe you might want to start looking at your own sisters who cried rape and it was fake and she lied and got caught in her lie. And maybe once that happens a bunch of times in an area, the justice system may take a second look at her story now. And then she's going to say, well, they don't believe me. Well, why would we believe you when you have a history of lying and saying somebody done something to you that they didn't do?
yeah. I mean, I've actually been to 40 countries, so I've got quite some experience. And I've never been to a country, and I've never talked to anybody from a country where the women are less protected than the men. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen anywhere in the world. The women are always more protected than the men for the reason that the women produce the babies. And so, if like a lot of people criticize Islam and say that women in Islam aren't as well protected as the men, that's not even close to true. Because in Islam, one of the big things is, produce more Muslims, and the more Muslims have to be produced by the women because that's how babies are produced.
Well,
So,
you got the double standard there too, because what Peter said is correct. You're protecting the women because they produce the baby, but there's a flaw in their thinking. Because I have yet to meet a woman who produced a baby outside of medical involvement, okay, outside of medical involvement, that produced a baby without first having a guy to put their you know what, you know where.
yeah. The men have to, start the process, as it were. Let's. I mean, we want to put this up on our channel, so let's keep it
Yeah.
fine. But the men have to start the process. But one man can impregnate many women, but one woman can only have one baby at a time, apart from the exceptional cases of twins,
Twins
etc.
and something like that, right?
So essentially, everywhere you go on the wall, and you read the history books through human history, the women were protected, the women were taken care of because everybody understood. And I mean, at least until very recently, more babies were required just to keep the group going along, to keep the group sustained, and the more babies came from the women.
Society, and the babies came from the women, but they didn't come from the women without
help. And they
DNA.
were
And
and they
when
were
you looked at the DNA of that baby, by golly, the DNA was half his and half hers.
Yeah, and of course the babies were fed by the labor of the men, provided and protected for by the men of the community. That's
Yeah.
always been the way, and the men have always been disposable. The men have always been out with their pointed sticks, out hunting the woolly mammoth, going to get food. That's how it's been since we climbed down out of the trees. That's basically how it's been. So, this whole thing of, oh, the patriarchy has oppressed women, not nearly as much as the patriarchy oppressed men. But
No,
you can't
men
get
are
women to
like,
admit it.
you know what? I look at another example I could throw in people's faces. It's so true. Sitcoms and movies.
Yeah.
And being a man, I mean, if this happened to a woman, she'd be infuriated, okay? But I can tell you thousands of movies and thousands of sitcoms over the years that you can't even get through it without somewhere in that fucking video or that freaking movie or whatever that there's male bashing going on.
Yeah.
And the guy has to live with seeing himself being bashed. I mean, you take a hammer and you beat him over the head and you beat him over the head and you beat him over the head and you beat him over the head, and then in the dating arena, You people up there pushing them off the ladder every time they climb up, push them off again and push them off again. And then when they speak up about what you're doing to them, well, you must be a woman hater. You must be this. You must be that. So really what you're doing is you're helping the very people you claim you're speaking against. You're not speaking against them. You're standing next to them, siding with them.
Yeah, helping them out. That's right, helping them out. Yeah, so this is what's been going on. It's been going on for a long time. So back in the day when we were running a radio show and talking a lot, we were of the hope that, hey, maybe we can turn this around. You know, not just you and I, but other people who were working on it as well. But my own opinion is,
the more you look at it now, I think it's come down to a point where you have to almost say, what do you think about the bombs going off, Peter?
That's like, a few years back, like 2013, 2014, for your listeners who don't know, Angela Merkel threw me in jail in 2014 just to prove who's boss around here, because I knew what was coming next in Germany. And, there's no help for guys like you and me. There's no support for us. And in the end, I just went, okay, well, I give up. I'm going to go live somewhere nice and peaceful where the bombs are not likely to drop on my head, and we'll see how things go. So I left the West in 2015 and said, let's just see how things go. These men, for years, 2015, that was already like 7 years that I've been doing this, and you'd been doing it for longer, and men are not listening, and men are not helping, and men are not standing up against their criminals and government. Just not going to do it. So it's okay, well, let's leave. For my part, I could leave. So I left, and we'll see how well the men go in defending themselves. And, we've all seen how Germans have done over the last 3 years, since 2014. Germany's done really well, right?
Yeah. Not.
Not, yeah. Your viewers may or may not know there's an alternative for Germany party now, the AFD. And I have spoken to all the senior women in politics in the AFD and pointed out that Angela Merkel threw me in jail. And if they would form a women's court and jury to prosecute Angela Merkel for unlawfully throwing me in jail, they could remove her from office. I've pointed that out to them, and they're like, oh, no, we don't want to do that. It's like, what, you don't want to get rid of Angela Merkel? Oh, no, but not by supporting you in your court case. I'm like, it's not about me and my court case. It's about removing a criminal from being Chancellor of Germany. That's kind of what you want to do. And what I say to them is, because Angela Merkel committed the crime of unlawfully incarcerating me in October 2014, that's the point at which she became a criminal. So if you find her guilty of that crime, all the things that she pushed through after that point in time can be automatically rescinded and wound back, because she was a known criminal at that time. And they're like, no, we don't want to do that. And I'm like, really? You don't want to do this? Okay, well, good luck. And, they've got like 2 million Muslims, 2 million immigrants in there now, raping women and killing them and all the rest of it. It's like, yeah, well done. Having me running my case and supporting the case of me being unlawfully incarcerated, just as a jury member, well, that's too much to ask. But we'll let 2 million guys in. We'll let them rape and kill the women and the young girls and things like that, because there's just no way to stop this. There's no way I know how to stop this. This guy told me how to stop it, but I'm just going to go like, nah. I'm not listening, right? That's where we're up to.
Yeah. People don't want to listen. They don't want to accept the reality, or they want to stay stuck in their behavior that came from the programming from our owners. And they don't want to recognize their behavior makes them part of the problem. And if you're going to be part of the problem and the biggest divide that our owners has created for us, then you could just shut your mouth about all the other problems, because you're not doing any justice for anybody anyhow, because you need to be doing justice straight across the board. And you can't do it by, well, I choose to keep this behavior and I choose to say corrupt on this end. I only want this and this fix. So somehow it's like truth it's a buffet line, and you pick out what truth you want and disregard the rest. And corruption is a buffet line to you idiots now, where you're going to pick out what corruption you want to fight against and leave the rest intact. And if you're going to do that, then as far as I'm concerned, you're useless to the cause of fighting back to begin with, because you are part of the problem.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. People are picking and choosing. Those few people who are actually doing anything useful are picking and choosing what they're going to be useful about, rather than taking a tack which would sort out the criminality of the governments. But since my own personal view is since 2014, there's been no way that this is going to be stopped, because of the surveillance state, because of the ability to know what people are talking about and get to people, and to be able to take people down off YouTube or any social media site.
Well, YouTube is nothing more than a fancy. They said it when Google took over YouTube, that they were going to turn that platform into a TV set. And if you pay attention, that's exactly what they are doing.
Yeah, they're trying to turn it into a TV station, and that which happens to have a lot of channels. So this pushback didn't happen, and guys are like, yeah, well, I'll take this bit, I'll take this bit, I'll take this bit. The guy next to me gets screwed over. Oh well, bad luck, and they're just continuing on. And the women
don't care. The women are worse. Actually, the women stand together stronger than the men do. Because the men are too busy throwing each other under the bus to impress that female over there that's going to butt rape him when she's done with him.
Yeah. So the women actually stand in pretty much unison against the men. That's pretty normal. I mean, even to date, I mean, I've changed from discussing with women the idea of having an all-women's jury to prosecute women properly accused of a crime. Women don't want to do that. So now I just denounce them for not doing it, right? And I say to the women, all women condone women's perjury and divorce. Because, oh, no, not all of us. Yeah, well, which ones don't? You're going to have to give me their names, and you're going to have to prove which ones don't.
Yeah, and prove that they actually don't, because, if you're a female and you're out there speaking out to corruption and you say you're waking up, if you want to use that term, okay? Are you aware of whatever term you want to use, okay? If you're really aware of this and you're speaking out on the corruption and you want to stop, then maybe you better back up and look at your own gender. Because if you're not willing to be held accountable, or for another woman to be held accountable for her part in corruption, then you're not speaking for nobody. Shut your mouth.
Yeah. I mean, the best example of this we talked about earlier is Karen Strawn, right? And,
yes.
And Karen Strawn comes onto the scene in late 2011, and I talked to her immediately she came onto the scene, and I asked her questions like, do you actually want to help man? Do you want to learn and understand what's going on so that you can understand what the remedy is and what the solution is, these sort of things? And she said, no, I'm not interested in any of that. I'm going to work with Paul Elam over at A Voice for Men. And we knew Paul Elam was an agent. And so Karen Strawn comes in. I approach her. She says, no, I don't want to listen to you. I'm going to go work with Mr. Government Agent Paul Elam. Well, within a few months, I denounced her. By April 2012, I denounced her as she's in this for the money. She's in this for herself. She's not going to help anyone. And everybody's going, oh, no, we need more women to speak up for us. We need more women to speak up for us. Well, now it's 2018.
What has she accomplished?
Yeah, look at the MRA world. Look at what has Karen Strawn accomplished. Zero, or in fact, worse than zero. She's been a negative impact on the area of men's rights. She's accomplished the distraction of men away from how it is that they could secure their rights. That's what she's accomplished. And she's been very good at that.
Well, that's why they brought her on, because this has been proven through all history. Where the women will go, the men will
follow. There's like the bull with a ring through its nose. The men just follow the women, right? And so Paul Elam has led the men down the path of what we need is more government. We need to have more laws and and more legislation, and we need to have a department for men and blah, blah, blah. We
As
need
if, as if like it was all an accident that
yeah,
they pushed all these laws into effect by accident.
accident.
No,
Yeah,
they didn't. There was nothing accidental about it, and you can't go to your congressman and change the law because it was deliberately made that way.
yeah, it was made that way. And so, the men's rights movement now is a joke. Nobody takes the men's rights movement seriously because there's no men left in it. I mean, you've got
No, well,
Karen.
you got a lot of. I wish I was a man. I claim to be a man who actually need to go to the hospital and get their genders, their gonads removed, or they need to transition and get addressed and change their name because they're not no man. To a real man, they would actually be a disgrace.
Yeah. Well, look, you got Karen Strawn, you got Cassie J, you've got Diane Davison, you've got Christina Hoff Sommers, you've got Janet Bloomfield. I mean, they're the 5 best known MRAs. You've even got in Australia. Your viewers won't know this woman, but you've even got in Australia a woman called Bettina Arndt calling herself a men's rights activist now.
You've even got a female pickup artist now who's writing a book for PUA.
Who's
teaching
that?
guys how to freaking get a date. And I started laughing. I mean, if you just put in PUA, pickup artist, in today's search, you're going to find a female that's writing the new thing.
Yeah. So men, the MRAs let women in, and the women obviously destroyed what was going on, and they're done. I mean, nobody takes them seriously. I mean, why would anyone take a men's rights movement seriously where the best known advocates are women?
Well,
that's ridiculous.
Like the feminist movement shouldn't have been headed up by a man then? I mean, and in reality, I don't care if a woman's fighting for the men's rights if she's actually really fighting for the rights. But these women are not there for that. They're there to steer these men away from their problem so that they can continue to keep the problem in place just like it is, and then they line their pocket with money. That's all they're there for.
Well, Cassie J was an interesting case because the reason she made the red pill was she was a feminist and she had this beta loser boyfriend, and he wouldn't marry her because she was a feminist. So she did this whole thing about her personal journey of becoming a non-feminist in order to get the boyfriend to marry her. And now he's married her, right? So that's what the red pill, the whole movie, The Red Pill, was all about Cassie J getting her boyfriend to marry her. That's what it was about.
I'm all for women having the same rights as men. I got nothing against that. Okay? I got nothing against that at all. The women want the same rights as men. I don't think that we should be focusing on our differences in genders because that only causes friction and problems. But at the same token, these women don't want the same rights. They've already had the same rights for years. Now they actually have more rights than a man. And I don't see anybody complaining about that. We just keep giving them more and more and more. So now they can throw you under the bus. I don't know why you don't just, it's born a boy, kill it.
Yeah, it's got a dangler, better kill it. You're gonna have to have the 4th trimester abortion for boys, right?
They even made a movie called A World Without Men.
Yeah.
Okay, now you tell me, what if Peter and I, we made a professional movie, Hollywood style, and we pushed that across all the world, and it was a world without women. Yeah, I'll bet you there'd be a lot of angry people, right?
Yeah, that'd be politically incorrect.
Yeah, but when you do it to men, that's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with you watching hundreds of sitcoms and hundreds of movies and us bashing you in there. So what? You're not a human. I mean, you don't, I'll go back to what Religia told me in the Philippines. And she was a teacher that taught elementary school kids. And her answer to me was, I said something to her and she says, you can't say that. And I says, why can't I? She says, are you a woman? I says, of course not. She says, you're just a guy. Men do not have feelings and emotions like women. So I'm thinking, so then who did you have your children by? Was that E.T.? Was that some swamp beast? Because it obviously wasn't a human.
Yeah. I mean, the women are the more empathetic sex. The women are the better communicators. The women are just better in every way, shape, and form. And us men are, as far as women are concerned, us men are subhuman animals, less than dogs. And
Yeah.
the example I use in my comments now is if a woman was walking down the street and there was a stray dog down the street and she picked up a stick and started just beating this stray dog because she was a horrible, nasty woman, well, everyone would stop her and she'd be on charges of animal cruelty, right? For beating a stray dog. But if a woman was walking down the street, picked up a stick, and just started beating some man, random man, because she was a horrible woman,
He had it coming to him.
everyone would cheer.
They
And
sure
everyone
would.
would say, he's obviously done something wrong. He's made her angry. And more than likely, some other people, bystanders who don't even know the man or the woman, would join in, right?
That's the majority of the time. Very seldom will you have anybody do the right thing. They actually did a special on that, and they did a great job of filming that, and it showed the exact behavior Peter's talking about. One woman even walked by and threw her fist up in the air and said, "Go, girl, go."
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
When she was abusing him. And even a cop went by off duty, and he just walked right by. They didn't see nothing wrong with that domestic violence in his face because the perpetrator was a woman. So that means she was okay to do it. Then when
Yeah.
that cop was asked, what if it had been the other way around or been the guy? Well, then I would have stepped in. And then the
Yeah.
reporter says, wasn't that a double standard? And he goes, well, yeah, but so there
Yeah,
you go.
but it's okay when it's a man, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people. There's been a lot of YouTubers now do this sort of thing just as a social experiment, right? Where they have a man and a woman because it gets a lot of views, gets a lot of clicks. So they have a man and a woman. In the first case, the woman is abusing the man, and everybody's fine with that. And in the second case, the man's abusing the woman. Invariably, bystanders jump in and start trying to beat up the man or rescue the woman, and etc. It's
All the white knights
one,
come to rescue her.
it's
So
all one-way traffic.
it is, and this is why it's such a joke when I hear women say how they're just as victimized as the man is. Are there
Yeah.
more of a victim than the man? No, you're not.
Well,
Not that you're not a victim because our owners made us all victims. Okay, women and men alike are all victims, but
yeah.
you're victims of the programming, the brainwashing that has divided us, the biggest divide ever. And
Yeah.
unless you can recognize your own behavior onto somebody else and correct your own behavior from that programming, then you're part of the problem.
Yeah. Well,
So, and that applies to women and men both. Because if women are awake that want what's right, then you would want also what's right upon men. You're not asking him to be above you, but you also don't want to be above him. So you're going to recognize what's right and what's wrong, and you want what's right onto men and women, not just your own gender. When you can be in that mindset, you're on the right path. And all you white knights, when you can be in that mindset, you're on the right path. If you keep going with the programming, you're not on the right path. So you might as well shut your mouth about everything else.
Yeah, well, you have to look at the situation now. There's still what I point out to women is there is still not one single woman who's the mother of a boy or a man who's come forward and said, "I'm going to do what's necessary to defend the rights of my sons." There still isn't one, right?
I haven't seen that, and that's why some of these movies they'll get this movie portraying her son was taken and what the woman would do to find her son, to protect her son. And these movies portray that. Even 9/11, it was the mothers that went out because their sons were killed. Okay?
Yeah.
But in reality, if you really pay attention around you, you don't see that behavior. You
Doesn't
see that
happen.
behavior from Hollywood.
Yeah,
That's the
it doesn't
only
happen.
place you see that behavior.
Yeah. Well, there was Milo Yiannopoulos did a tour in Australia, did a speaking tour in Australia, right? And I watched a lot of it. And in one of the sessions, this woman stood up and said, I've got an 8-year-old son, and I see these false allegations being made, et cetera, et cetera. What is it?" And the question she asked was, "What is it I should teach my son so that when he grows up, he can defend himself?" Right? That was the question she asked. I'm the mother. The kid's 8 years old. What should I teach him so that when he grows up, he can defend himself? Not what should I do today so that when he grows up, he will be defended. No, that wasn't the question. The question is, I need to tell my son something
When he can defend himself
so he
from
can defend
all the
himself.
attacks he's going to have onto him
Yeah.
based on his gender.
Yeah, and I've got no responsibility. You know, I'm an adult woman. I'm a voter. I'm a taxpayer, but I've got no responsibility for protecting my son. It's his responsibility to protect himself, right? And I watched that question. That question was asked, and then Milo made a joke out of it, right? Which I took that as the last piece of proof I needed that Milo was a subversive, because that was a perfect opportunity for him to say, well, you're a voter and you're a taxpayer. Isn't it your problem to make sure that the legal system will protect your son? Isn't that your problem? He could have said that, but he didn't. He just made a joke out of it, right?
Yeah.
So his joke was teach your son how to be gay, so he doesn't have to put up with all the women, right? That was his joke about it. But this even when women start becoming aware of all the crimes the other women are committing against the men, they don't say, well, I have a role to play in this. They say, well, that's going to be my son's problem when he grows up. It's got nothing to do with me.
Got nothing to do with me. I don't care about that, so I'm going to turn my back to it and look the other way.
Yeah.
Just like the White Knight. He turns back and looks the other way because he wants to somehow get that favoritism of the very gender who will not hesitate to screw him over.
Yeah, throw him under the bus.
But he don't care because he thinks he's more of a man if he gets to put his penis where. That doesn't make him more of a man. That makes him less of a man.
Yeah. Well, I've been having these conversations with women for a long time. Now I'm just announcing them. And one of the things I say to women, there is not one single woman in the entire Western world, to my knowledge, who's working to make sure that women who commit perjury in divorce courts are prosecuted. There's not even one. And one of the standard answers is, well, I wouldn't know how to have a woman prosecuted for perjury. I wouldn't know how to get a woman, prosecuted for a crime. That's something completely beyond me. And then I asked them the question, well, if you were raped, would you know what to do to get
Peter,
justice?
Hold on. If you were raped by a female, you know what would happen?
Oh, if I was raped by a female, nothing happens.
You enjoyed it. You liked it. It was your own fault. You wanted it. It's going to be everything to go around it. And when the real issue is if the boy's raped by a female, even a judge said that once, that he should be lucky, the school teacher, how good looking she was. Yeah, he should feel lucky. Okay? Now, hold on. So this young teen should feel lucky, huh? So then I suppose when the guy rapes the teen girl and he's a teacher, that she should feel lucky, right?
Yeah. Really?
Yeah,
That's not how it works, right?
You see the insanity with this?
Yeah.
Neither party should feel lucky, and the perpetrators should be held accountable. It doesn't recognize a gender. That's what I tried to tell people. Has nothing to do with woman hating. It's recognizing right from wrong and holding people accountable to their behaviors regardless of gender.
Yeah. So I say to a woman, if you got raped, you'd know what to do, right? You go, I'd go to the police and they'd search for the man and they'd go to trial. If we get enough evidence, they go to jail. I said, if you were raped, you know exactly what to do to punish your rapist. But if a woman commits perjury, suddenly you have no idea. Suddenly that's completely...
They're suddenly lost. They're just like mine did, right? They're stumped. They're like,
huh? What? How do you prosecute a woman just because she's committed perjury? I have no idea how to prosecute a woman who committed perjury. I don't know how that gets done. So,
and if you could get one case to be done, most likely this is what would happen, Peter. Don't do it again. Now go home.
Yeah. Well, they've started in the UK because it's been so bad. They've started actually putting a few women in jail. But usually it takes 5 to 10 false rape allegations before you get like 6 months in jail, right?
But meanwhile, the guy, he gets to go spend in jail and he gets to freaking have the fucking media come up and grab his name and put it to the public. And then if it's found he didn't do it, where's the media? I
Oh
hear
yeah, yeah,
crickets. I hear
yeah,
crickets. Nobody
yeah.
heard he didn't do it. No, he's still being prosecuted by everybody around him for what he never done.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And, this is one of the reasons why the Kavanaugh case is a watershed case, because he stood up and said, no, I didn't do this, and stop slandering me, basically. And he pointed out that it's nothing but a witch hunt. He pointed out that it's nothing but a character assassination job.
Well,
But,
it is. Well, you
Kavanaugh,
think about this, the ship, we had the cruise ship that's happened a few years back that crashed right towards shore.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
captain bailed out. He got out of there, right? He did what everybody does in society. He looked out for number one, himself,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
everybody crucified him that he was to go down with the ship. And then they brought up the bullshit about it's women, children, and then men. I said, hold on. If there was only enough lifeboats for women, you saved the women and killed the children, boy and girls. You killed them off, and the man, well, they were dead from the beginning because you crucified them right off the start. Why wasn't it one woman, one man, then children, as many as you can get in that raft? One woman, one man, then children, until all the children were off with one woman, one man, and then this many women, this many men per raft. Why didn't we do that? Oh, we can't have that.
yeah,
No, we got to crucify the man. So the man, if he's on a sinking ship, he has to die.
yeah.
You've
He has
already
to do.
decided he's dead. He's expendable.
Yeah, yeah.
And even
Well,
the children are expendable because somehow, even she don't care about the little she's.
yeah, that's right. Well, not many people know that on the Titanic, more post-menopausal women put themselves into lifeboats in front of the children. On the Titanic, more women survived as a percentage than children survived as a percentage.
Yeah.
The women, literally on the Titanic, the women put themselves into the lifeboats in front of the children,
But
and
what
that's
they
been
will
standard.
do, but what the woman won't do to save her children, Peter.
Oh yes, women are always looking out after their kids. Women are the loving, caring gender, and they would do anything for their children except stand up for the boys. Right? They'll help the
Right.
girls out a little bit, but they do nothing for the boys
No,
because
they
the
will
last.
help the girls. They'll help the girls out, help the girls out. And a lot of so-called fathers that are white knights, they have a girl or a boy. They'll be right there for the little girl. They'll be right there for the little girl. They'll be right there. And they will even throw their own boy under the bus.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Well, my father did that. My father invited my in-laws to my mother's funeral. Right? The people who when you know the story, but your listeners won't. When my wife kidnapped my children and relocated them to places unknown, my mother had dementia. She was going into dementia, but at that time she was still aware. She was sick, but she still was aware of what's going on, and she knew she had dementia, and she knew that was a one-way ticket. She knew that there was nothing to be done about it, right? So during that period, my in-laws refused to give my mother, my elderly, ill, dying mother, a phone number to call her grandchildren on, right? That is about as abusive as you get. I mean, an elderly, ill, dying woman, you're going to deny her the ability to talk to her grandchildren in order to get money. That's where we're at, right? And I was absolutely furious, and I spoke to my father-in-law, and I said, "If you support this, you have a problem with me, right? You and I are going to have a problem." And he basically said, "Okay, well, I guess you and I have a problem." And he still has a problem with me to this day. Now, my father invited those people to my mother's funeral, right? And I said, when I was told that my mother had died, and I got an email, I said, "Well, I'm not coming because I don't have the letter that I asked for to say that my in-laws won't be invited to this funeral, so I'm not coming. Good luck." And my eldest brother wrote me a reply, and I sent him a rather scathing reply, and I've never heard from any of them since. Right? So my father, my brothers, they all supported these crimes, this perjury, etc. Now, an interesting endpoint to that is my nephew, one of my brother's sons, just had twins. His wife just had twins. And I haven't spoken to him yet, but I'm going to point out to him that I'm the only member of the family who's been defending his right to raise his children the way he sees fit and to secure his rights to raise his children. No other member of his family's bothered to do anything about that in the last 10 years. I will be pointing that out to him, right? See what he says. And he'll probably say, well, that's got nothing to do with me. I just have 2 children, right? So we'll see. But yeah, you know, the Manginas, my father invited to my mother's funeral the very people who abused her when she was ill. Well, that's how ridiculous it is. That's where we're at today. That's acceptable today, right?
Yeah.
That's socially acceptable.
There's no morals. There's no common sense. And it's not about what's right for everybody. It's about the ultimate selfishness. Okay. And then, of course, it's about divide and conquer. The biggest divide in all of the world was the divide of the genders.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That is the biggest divide ever created outside of the biggest mind control weapon is religion.
Yeah.
So your 2 biggest entities, the biggest problems out here, nobody wants to address. But you're going to worry about Sandy Hook. You're going to worry about Parkland. You're going to worry about 9/11. You're going to worry about the London bombings. You're going to worry about this. You're going to worry about that. But you're not going to focus or pay attention to this because, well, anybody that's stuck in that area must be stuck. They're just stuck in that area, huh? Oh, well, then why are you talking about religion, how religion don't belong within the truth community? Why are you worried about religion? Because you know religion's corrupt. You know it's the biggest psyop. You know it's the biggest mind control weapon outside of MK Ultra. Religion is part of MK Ultra. It's a mind control program, right? So you're going to worry about that, but you're not going to worry about the biggest divide. Do you know what divide and conquer means? Do you understand what divide and conquer means? You know, I've said to people, I wouldn't mind us going back to the Leave It to Beaver days, because at least in them days you portrayed the man and woman as in an equal relationship, and you didn't have the divide you have now. Okay, but people, well, we no, that's going back in time, and we move up with our knowledge and we advance ourselves. You haven't advanced yourself; you're moving backwards.
Yeah, these progressives never ask the question, where are they progressing to?
That's like Karen Stroud. Look what she's done for MRA. She's a woman fighting for men. She's accomplished 0.
Yeah, she's distracted. She's distracted
Even when Paul Leland was there, our agent, our government agent, I went at him many times and says, you do a great job in your videos. You do a great job of showing all the symptoms caused by this. But when are you going to address the root cause? And I sent him stuff showing him the root cause. Well, he blew that off like blowing off a bad storm. Well, I didn't do that.
Not gonna talk about that. He's gonna talk about more government, because more government is obviously the answer to that.
Right, yes. More of the people who help bring the problem to us is the answer. That's right.
But one of the things I like pointing out to women now is when I'm pointing out about perjury in the divorce courts, etc. One of the things that women like to say is, "Oh, well, it's not our fault because we were brainwashed," and I'd say, You've claimed for 150 years how equal you are, and yet now that you're being called on it, you claim that you don't know perjury is a crime because somehow you were brainwashed into not knowing that perjury and stealing is a crime, despite the fact it's written in the 10 Commandments. You somehow it's not your responsibility.
But she went to church, right? She claims to be a faithful Catholic or Christian or whatever. And she can't pay attention to that's one of the things the church said.
Yeah.
Well, that went out of my, I mean, that's above my IQ there. I just can't register that one.
Well, if a man lies to me or if a man steals from me, that's a crime. But if a woman lies against a man or steals from the man, well, I just have no idea what should be done then. That's obviously not a crime. And now they're saying, well, we were all brainwashed. Every single last one of us was brainwashed to not understand that perjury was a crime. It's like, nope. Not passing, not getting a pass to that.
No, that's not a pass, because it comes right down to answer what Peter just said, comes right back down to accountability. Do you recognize wrong from right? And if you're a female and you say, I know right from wrong, then maybe you should examine really what's going on and quit turning your head and looking the other way and playing dumb. Because as long as you want to turn your head and look the other way and play dumb, I'm not going to stop saying what I'm saying. And if you hate me for saying what I'm saying, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, all the lies, all the false allegations, all the slander, all the perjury. I mean, how many, I've been at this nearly 10 years, how many women have told lies about me in the public? You couldn't count them, right? You wouldn't even be able to count them. If you counted like every comment in every video or Facebook post or anything else like that, how many women have told lies about me? It's innumerable. And then you go, well, how many women, given all these lies told about me in public, how many women have said, hang on a minute, that's wrong. You shouldn't be lying about this person. Stop lying about this person. How many women have said that? Well, they're really easy to count because that's a goose egg, that one.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. That's just it, So, if you want to, if you're a female and you're pointing an accountability on that guy over there because that guy did this and this and this, I'm with you on that. But when that female over here on this side done this and this and this, and you're not going to turn your head and look at her and point your finger at her, then I invite you to shut your mouth.
Yeah, just shut up. And what's happening now with MGTOW? I mean, one of the reasons I started using the MGTOW label is in 2014, 15, MGTOW actually started to really take off. I mean, it was very small before then. And I was pretty much, I am a man going my own way. I left the West. I have my own company now. And, we're going forward again in my own company. So, hooray. But the MGTOW movement was growing and growing and growing. And it's just like, okay, well, I'll now label myself as a MGTOW because I never, ever labeled myself as an MRA. And we'll start talking about these issues. And instead of saying, well, we need to meet the women halfway and the women need to do this or the other, the MGTOW community saying, no, screw you women. You've been asked, you've been told, you said no, you doubled down on all your crimes. We now want nothing to do with you. Now, some MGTOWs will do the dating women part-time, et cetera, et cetera. Some of them will do that. And some of them are monk and some of them are in between and et cetera. But it's basically the MGTOWs are saying, no, with all the rubbish or all the crap we've seen you do to the men and look at how you've treated the MRAs, we're just not even going to engage with you in the whole discussion anymore. Get out of town. And it's got the women scared stiff. The idea that a young guy in his 20s can say, well, I'm never going to get married and never going to have kids, that's scaring the women witless.
Well,
right?
I was all for MGTOW when it first come out because MGTOW was a branch off of MRA to begin with. It was an MRA who started the MGTOW, came up with the concept. I agreed with men walking their own way, walking away from women with the corruption that's going on. But I didn't agree with it on a permanent basis because we could never, ever come back together or solve the problems if it stayed forever. So it can't stay forever, right? But until women can clearly start taking accountability for their own actions and pointing out other women that are and shaming them for the corruption they're doing, then why would men ever have the incentive to want to come back to? You need to understand where the problems originated from. Our owners gave them to us. You need to recognize that equally, and you need to have accountability not just on one gender, on both genders, straight across the board, and it needs to be enforced by both genders straight across the board. And until that happens, go your own way. You're better off.
Yeah. The young men are better off going their own way because, if this doesn't get sorted out in 10 or 20 years, they can still get if in 20 years' time things get sorted out, they can still have kids. They can have kids till they're old, right? Women can't, or they can leave. I'm saying,
the women who maybe complain about this and don't like the idea of men going their own way, maybe you might want to back up and think a little bit about what I just said. Accountability has to be straight across the board. If you want to play into your power trip because you're on your pedestal and you're going to do the programming because it is advantage to you, then don't plan on the men coming back anytime soon. And I would encourage more men to keep walking.
Yeah.
Keep walking because It's going to take both sides coming together fairly, which means accountability straight across the board from both
Yeah.
sides. It's going to take other women pointing their finger at another woman. It's going to take other women saying she's committed perjury. She needs
Yeah.
to be. It's going to take that before anything's ever going to change.
Well, what's necessary is for women to form all women's juries in all women's courts to fairly and justly prosecute a woman brought before them properly accused of a crime. And if women are not prepared to do that, which they're not, then it's basically, yeah, okay, you can be given a case of perjury, proven and admitted publicly, and you women are not going to do anything about this. Oh, by the way, if the men form an all men's jury and prosecute the woman, well, that's persecution, that's patriarchy, right? But the women will not do it because the all women's jury and all women's court is something I proposed to women back in October 2009, which is 9 years ago now. And I said to the women, if you want to be taken seriously as pretending to be equal to men and actually step up from pretending to actually starting to be equal in the social life and political life with men, then one of the things you're going to have to do is be willing to create all women's juries and all women's courts and prosecute women criminals. Because when us men do it, you call us patriarchal overlords abusing the women. Go do it yourself and prove it to us. 9 years, I've got 4 maybes. 4 women who said, well, if you get that done, maybe I'll sit on your jury.
There's maybe. You got 4 maybes, okay? You know,
in 9 years.
In 9 years, he's got 4 maybes. What does this say? What does this scream at us? It screams nobody wants what's right. Everybody wants to keep playing into the programming. And, you know, when you think it's all a game, just like what the media told you in the dating arena is a game, you got a game, you got a game. Well, it is a game because the end game is stupidity and ignorance breeds death.
Yeah.
So, you know, if bombs drop and people die, you got your want, okay? I've told people years ago, you create your own killers. They got off when I told them they created their very own killers, but you do. You want to think another human being's emotions and feelings is a game to be played with, and it winds up with you dead? You done it yourself, and I don't feel sorry for you a bit.
Yeah. Well, look at this Kavanaugh case and look at the craziness from women on the left, right? The Democratic Party, I did a video this week saying that it's not that Democratic Party is the party of the left and the leftists are insane. I said the Democratic Party is now the party of women, and it's the women's influence on the party that's driven everyone insane. And the Democratic Party itself is now pretty much run by women, right?
But and even so,
that's why they're behaving like that.
But you know what's funny about that? There is no left, there is no right, there is no Democrat, there is no Republican.
Yeah, well, that's all a side itself.
They all got the same owner, telling both sides what to do. But you created a divide in the politics, like the greatest divide in the genders, and these idiots fall for it. So what Peter said is a reality only because people don't understand that there is no left and no right. So the show that Peter just talked about that's exactly what it is, a show. But that show is going to create more tensions with the genders and continue the behavior.
Yeah, well, they're now starting to get just violent in public, right? There was a little bit of violence in the lead up to the 2016 elections, but things, people on the quote left are now starting to literally mug people in the street and beat people up in the street and things like that. That's a very slippery slope, and it's a very short distance from, you know, some muggings and a few beatings in the street to a significant amount of violence. That's a very short
right.
distance.
And that's called social conditioning. And where did it come from? It came from the show.
Yeah.
Because what Peter just talked about technically is a show.
It's a wonderful pantomime.
Yeah. So, there's not a lot we can say about it, but, I want to get up here with Peter today, and I want to do a video with him. I've done a video with this guy forever, and this is the topic I want to do because this is the topic Peter is very, very, very aware of. I'm very aware of that so many men, white knights, turn their head to. And
Oh
so many
yeah.
women turn their head to. But you got all these people that are what's left of the truth community, what's left, because CIA started truth communities, it was a psyop from the beginning. But what real truthers come out get run off of YouTube. You shut the real truthers up. But what few real truthers are left that are fighting out of them real truthers, a percentage of them are hooked into this divide, this problem so bad that really their message is skewed because you can't play, I'm sorry, corruption isn't a buffet line, truth isn't a buffet line, and you either want what's right straight across the board or shut your mouth, and that's the way I feel about you.
Yeah, well, that's what's happening. It's like, oh yeah, we'll talk about this bit, we'll talk about this bit, we'll talk about this bit, but it's now, in my view, done. There's the surveillance state, like from the times I first started 10 years ago, we were pretty heavily surveilled then, but now it's not possible to have a conversation now privately without the government being able to listen to you if they want to.
Correct.
You just can't do it anymore.
No, you
And,
can't. You're going to be listened to regardless of what, because everything's being recorded, you're being listened to, you're being watched. And if you're doing a search and you're doing research to find something, once you put in that same search more than one time, they're on to you. And they will change the search results so that you search for a certain topic. Maybe you're trying to find something that's valuable to show people something that's critical in what's going on. Well, once they see you're looking for it, it's the second time you punch it in. Now they change the search results, so you put in looking for maybe a certain name of a politician or some corrupt banker or whoever you're looking for, and it came up with porn, or it came up with buy this at Walmart or buy this over here, because they don't want you finding it, so they start messing with your searches. Then you have to walk away, wait a while, come back another day, a couple weeks later, do a quick search again, and then stop, because if you put it in again, they're going to be on to you again. It's called censoring you. It's called stopping you from finding, scrubbing the net.
Yeah, old articles are disappearing out of search results and things like that. That's all going on, because people say to me, "Why aren't you concerned about still being out there in the public?" And I'm like, "There's nowhere to hide." Right?
I've had people tell me that, Peter, after I lost my job back there because of all the corruption. I've had people tell me, well, you should just stop doing what you're doing and take down your videos. It wouldn't matter. I've had umpteen channels, all of my videos removed, and guess what? People already seen me. People already know who I am. People have already mirrored my videos over here, over there, over there. I could take down everything I have and walk away, and in 10 years from now, come back and still find myself.
Yep. So today there's really no way I can see anybody or any group being successful in opposing our friends in the Committee of 300. I think they're going to get their way. They're going to get what they want, which is getting rid of a whole bunch of useless eaters. And I don't feel sorry for them anymore because
I'm on board.
We did so much.
I'm on board with Peter that they get their wants. They start dropping bombs. I have to stand on board with Peter on that. You don't scare me on death anyhow. Okay, I talked to Peter for the first time and for a long time yesterday, and the first thing he says to me is, "Bill, you put on weight."
You're in a good paddock. You're in a good paddock, as we say.
He says, "You put on weight, man. You look better than what you did before. Last time I saw you, you were blah, blah, blah." So it's nice to hear that. My health still ain't good, but yeah, I did put on some weight.
You're looking healthier. But, you and I are at the age where, we've done everything in our lives that we want to do and been successful to one extent or another in what we wanted to do in our lives. What's next doesn't really count that much for you and me.
I don't really, you can't scare me with death. A death threat to me means nothing because I'm ready to die and I can die anytime anyhow. It don't mean nothing. There is no scare me with death. Okay, so you ain't got that weapon on me because I don't give a fuck. As far as I'm concerned, they can drop bombs and kill off millions.
Yeah. I think they're going to continue on with this kind of low-level warfare, this low-level civil unrest, and all these different wars around in different places. Get young men foolish enough to sign up to them to go off and get
Well,
themselves
they're getting
killed.
their population reduction anyhow because between the wars that they're not ending and the GMO foods and the chemtrails and removing the lead paint off your house because the children wasn't being poisoned or were being poisoned because that was a big psyop. There was no lead paint poisoning ever. That was to remove the lead from your home so they can use the weapons they're using on you now. Frequencies, because that lead paint protected you from them frequencies. But without the lead paint, you ain't got that protection. Because you can still buy lead paint. Jerry and I were looking into it, and it's pretty funny. If you're rich and you're the elite, you can afford to put lead paint on your home to protect yourself. Because it's like $400 a gallon. So
Really?
So if you'd like to buy some lead paint, it's about $400 a gallon. Good luck on painting your house unless you've got one hell of a lot of money. And then you're going to want 2-3 coats to have a good lead barrier. So that's going to be one hell of a lot of money. So the only thing I can say is, well,
Well, they're going to have their mass immigration, and then the mass immigration is going to end up in civil unrest in a lot of different places. The Sweden is now getting to that point of civil unrest. There's lots of no-go areas. There's going to be significant civil unrest in Sweden, and the same is going to happen in Germany and France and the UK, etc. So when those things, when that little barrel gets lit, you don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, that could be very nasty. Those places, it could turn very nasty.
Well, so that's it. So
we'll see what happens.
I think Peter and I'll probably be back again here. We'll do another video sometime. I'm not going to lose track of this guy. I never do lose track of him. We just go sometimes a while without seeing each other. But I'm going to cut this video off because we're already over an hour.
Okay.
Okay, you don't got to hang up. Just I'll end the recording. So.
Okay. Well, it's been great doing another video with you, Bill. It's really good. And I look forward to our next one. We'll pick a topic and we'll do another one and put it out there. That'll be great.
Yeah. Hopefully somebody will get something out of it.
Okay.
With that, Peter and I'll be back another day for another video.